biggest change is just the logistics of teaching, because this is it. This is, you have to fit everything in, and they have to be able to see it. So Francis done a class based on Quentin Blake, and your lovely housemates modelled for you when it was proper full-time.
Yeah, lucky to have housemates.
Yeah, exactly. As a resource, to use them, be like, oh yeah, I can turn you into a class. But I think that's the real thing, is making sure that you can still teach effectively and show people, and that they get that really rich experience that they would have got in person.
The hardest thing to teach is for people not to compare themselves and not to worry about what they're doing, which is actually easier, I think, in lockdown, because people are at home and they're not seeing what other people are making whilst they're in their private space. But when we're teaching in real life, it's like online's real life, but I don't know what else to call it. On location,
in situ.
Yeah, it's much harder to teach. The key to drawing for us is for people to have a good time, to enjoy the process.
The idea of this creative caretaker and the kind of mental health benefits. I think that Matisse class particularly has captivated people because it's full of colour. People are really attracted to the idea of cutting out. It seems to uninhibited people, they seem to feel more, it's even more accessible. As much as we try and make our classes accessible, this one seems to really promote openness. And I think, people see it, they think they can do it, it's colourful. And then it's about promotion and the algorithm. But I think people want a bit of joy, I think that's why it's appealing.
We actually are pretty good at online following anyway. To be honest with you, I think we've had quite a strong media presence from the get-go. I think we felt quite strongly about that, like having a good website. I mean, we can always do a bit more work on it, but like we've always used Instagram because it's like it is the visual like thing for social media. So most of the people who we do meet in real life do follow us on Instagram anyway. So we kind of had this like ready built network for people, I mean, at the start of lockdown, we decided that we weren't going to immediately, and everybody, like, you went on social media and everything was like cancelled, postponed, cancelled. We kind of held off until we had a plan. And instead of, I don't know, I particularly felt it was really important to be like, let's just put something positive into the mix, and rather than saying this is cancelled, say, this is what we're doing. These are your options. Like, it was, we just downloaded Zoom, figured it out, which was an interesting few days.
With the larger numbers of people, whoever's teaching will be backed up by Francis's class. I'll be helping in the chat to try and keep, because it's quite distracting. You can't really chat and teach and kind of keep on task. So there's a lot to manage. But what it is, there's this kind of situation. So you teach to a screen in your room, and then you have to wait for the pictures and the responses to come through. So I think adjusting to that kind of delay, like Louisa said, you have no idea how it's happened, how it's going. So it's quite stressful, It really brings up all these kind of, like, it reminds me of when I began teaching, all those kind of really anxious feelings of being like, I'm inadequate. Is it going well? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like you're sent right back to the beginning, because all the skills that we've learned from teaching with people in rooms, being able to do one-on-one and really getting good at that is no longer part of my teaching repertoire, my skill repertoire using here. So you do that, and when you start getting the pictures, but then it is kind of amazing when the pictures come through afterwards. It just blows your mind. You're like, oh, brilliant, they've got it. They've made this brilliant work. And